subject of today is Brassavola or Brassavola. I've heard this and that. We're gonna go with Brassavola.
Yeah, I'm a Brassavola.
Okay, she's so. This is Ashley. Everybody knows Ashley. Palmer Orchids. Kinda, you see it on her shirt. Brassavolas. You have a couple, right?
We have a couple. We actually have we have a couple. We have a few bunches of Brassavola hybrids. So what we're looking at here, some of them are primaries, some of them are more complex hybrids, but all of them have Brassavola in the background somewhere. Generally Brassavola nodosa, as I'm looking at.
Tell us about Brassavola itself. What is it? It's a Cattleya family, right?
Cattleya family is its own genera. Brassavola is its own genera, and Brassavola nodosa is, I would say, the most common species as far as hybridizing.
And here it is, so that you guys have a visual. This is like the mother of all Brassavolas, also known as the Lady of the Night.
Exactly.
The one, the beginning of it. So tell us how we grow them. What are the options?
Okay. Well, so one of the things I can point out here, you just mentioned Lady of the Night because it's night fragrant, and so it does tend to impart also a night fragrance into most of the progeny or most of the things that come out of it as far as the hybrids are concerned. This is a direct descendant of Brassavola nodosa. This plant here, Paul Storm, is actually half Brassavola nodosa, half Schomburgkia. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But you can see with this one, just as with the original, that star shape to the flower. So if you find yourself falling in love with Brassavolas and you're not really sure how to locate the hybrids, that's one of the hallmarks, one of the first things you can look for.
And we have them for sale on the website.
Yes, we do.
Notice I said we. Okay. Moving in. Okay, so this is the mom on the options. I want to point at you guys. This particular one, Pole Storm, right? Look at the plant. They have them on their website. You can just enjoy the view or you can divide it. Amazing. And it's really cool. There's way more in person on this flower than the camera shows you. And you said they can be a little slightly different, right?
They can. I don't know if the flower is still fresh on this one over here, but sometimes you get a little bit more orange or spotting or striping. Different things come through from the other parent. From
you see, like this one is so big, and that's mine, so don't look at it so much.
Okay. So Brassavolas grow, or at least nodosa crosses, they grow a lot like Cattleyas. So we have our nodosa hybrids in a bark mix, which is, we like Orchiata, we like the high-end stuff.
And you sell it, right? If anybody needs. People ask for supplies sometimes.
They do. Right now we have a limited quantity. The supply chains are getting all of us, but we made up a batch to sell for retail.
Okay, wonderful.
So we like Orchiata as a base, and then we like a lot of inorganic materials too. So we'll use Hydroton or Leca. We use some charcoal. So we try to get a nice dry mix, and one of the reasons you like a nice dry mix is so that you can actually water more often. You don't have to worry about overwatering, but you can control the nutrition of the plant to a stronger degree.
What do we, so these are pots. They are amazing mounted.
Oh yeah, I mean you can see that plant is coming right out of the pot.
This is the same one, right? Pole Storm.
And this is a very fresh mount, like a couple days old, so it hasn't started to take yet, but you can see in the same way you have all these new growths. So it's going to just shoot out in multiple directions and cover this piece.
How often does it bloom? Once, twice?
Really with the maturation of every new growth. So you should get, on younger plants once or twice a year, but the older the plant gets, the more frequently you'll see it.
They're not fragrant, right?
They may be at night. I have not been around this guy at night.
You got it. We gotta fix that.
Yeah. Greenhouse.
Night at
Greenhouse cocktails. Greenhouse cocktails.
I like the way you think.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's talk about, okay, we got that we can mount them. Trust me, mount it. You're not going to regret it. It's really, really easy, and they will appreciate it. Where do we grow them? What's the best? Light, water, stuff like that, fertilizer.
So there's a little bit of variability depending on what the other half or the other parts of the hybrid are. But in general, you can grow them just like a standard Cattleya, which means very bright indirect light. Kind of depending on where in the world you are, how close to the equator. You can do some morning sun. usually offer a cut point in these parts of around 10:30 or 11 as far as the direct sun you'd want to give the plant. Right now I have a test batch of these Paul Storms going in a very bright spot to see how they'll do as they acclimate to a brighter space. And one thing that will happen, especially on some of these hybrids that have more
So
pink,
this is a Ruby Xanadu? You say.
Star Ruby Xanadu.
Yeah. I made the fool of me too many times. I love these guys. They're so bright and... Okay, go.
Well, and the new growth on these I love too because it has color to it. It's got this nice, pretty pink tint to the foliage, the anthocyanin. So one thing you will see as you put the Nodosa hybrids, particularly those crossed with other Cattleyas that have a lot of color in the flower, what you'll see when you put those in higher light is that more pigment is going to come out in the foliage. So right now we have very green foliage in here based on the light levels that are in the greenhouse. But if I put these outside where they're getting some direct sun early in the day, you're going to see more red. That might come across as the perimeter of the leaf. In some hybrids it'll come across as some sort of pink spotting on the foliage. Oops.
Now, for the growers, are they good for the beginners? I think they're one of the easy ones, right?
Yeah, especially because they're pretty gratifying early on. Nodosas.
She's a doctor, you know. So,
so Nodosas in their hybrids tend to bloom in 2-inch pots. So when they're in a tiny size, before you even pot them up or put them into the next size available.
and pretty much, if they are happy, they will bloom almost like specifically Nodosa. Will bloom all the time almost.
Yeah, we have Nodosas blooming throughout the year. You know,
that's not Hippodamia. Oh, that's Hippodamia and Nodosa. Okay, got it.
So this one's cool because you see you've got that pink tint and some a little bit of spotting on the lip too.
We're just showing you the variety, and this is just like, I don't even know, 1/25 of what you guys have variety wise.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So they have lots of them on the mounts and stuff like that. Tell me about like bugs and how are they? Are they
I would say
bug candy?
Sure. Relative to some other things, particularly in the summer, you don't tend to have much trouble with our Brassavola hybrids. It's not to say that they're not prone to certain things, but in the summer, if you're going to run into certain pests or issues, you probably won't have problems with mites, maybe scale and mealybugs. And in fact, I have a sample dendrobium leaf for an example of that's mite damage.
Your damage?
No, mite.
Mite. Your.
Not mine.
I'm like, if damage is always mine. Mite.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you see something like that, you know you need to whip out the miticide or a pesticide of some kind.
There's miticide?
Miticide.
Oh boy, all kinds of goodies.
Safer soap is usually a good option.
Yeah, go with like do-it-yourself options.
Yeah, at home, actually, personally, I like to use the Dawn dish soap method, where I'm doing just a little bit of Dawn to a lot of water.
Dawn water?
Okay, I like to do a little bit of Dawn to a lot of water. And then, you know, after I treat it, when you're using soap on a plant...
Let's go to those storms to show them the... We're gonna go to that pole storm, right?
Yeah.
The
bigger ones are this one.
Yeah. That field of them is so impressive, guys. I'm totally like... I made myself a promise. Phalaenopsis only, and a dear friend of mine, Ashley, broke it because I really like this pole storm thing. Look, there's already in bud. Yeah, so, and the price is right. They're $25, right? You said. Show me the size.
25 to 35.
Yeah. This is 25, Ashley. Look at this, and they're all in spike already.
Using a 35 size.
Look at that. It's crazy. And this is 25, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, look at that. It's like 4 or 5 plants in there.
Yeah.
Look at you looking pretty. She doesn't like camera, but I made her rethink it. Yeah. So, pretty much it covers. They're beautiful. They are fragrant. They're easy. They don't take that much space. They grow vigorously. Brassavolas, right? I have them on a mount, and then you don't have to do nothing in the way of repotting and stuff.
Oh, exactly. I mean, they start to grow off. You just make a division.
Yep.
So they're very forgiving too, especially when you're trying to branch out into new kinds of orchids. If you're starting with some kind of Brassavola hybrid,
Look
it
at me
doesn't
go.
take as much.
I'm on the dolly here. Yeah, you walk. The main thing that I don't fall. But it will be a fun video. Okay, we got it. Thank you, Ashley. All of you seen, and you can go and research. I'm sure they have other kinds. Look at this thing already. Getting ready to bloom. One more. Some of them already did. PalmerOrchids.com. I'll have a link there. And I'm going to go and see what else they got. Thank you, ma'am.